to my YouTube channel. Right. Let's see here. So can everybody see the schedule now that I have popped up here? Okay, great. Wonderful. So here's our schedule for Organic Chemistry 1. So this is Chemistry 3101. And you can see that we cover everything in 8 weeks. And so we move along rather quickly. So the first thing I want to address is the amount of time that we have set aside for each one of these lectures. So I have booked from 8 to 11:30 a.m. each Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. So the R stands for Thursday, okay? So I have a lot of time booked. And basically, if you add up the amount of time that we have allotted for lectures, which is 75 minutes, 3 times a week over a 16-week semester, you'll see that if you tally up the amount of time that I have for every lecture, which is 3.5 hours, 3 times per week over 8 weeks, it's way too much time, okay? It's more, we'll put not too much, we'll put more than enough. You can never have too much organic chemistry. We'll put here more than enough. And thus, many days I will not be lecturing until 11:30. I just put that in there so that if we need a little bit of extra time, we're able to take that time. And also, you probably don't want to listen to me ramble on about organic chemistry for 2 hours straight. And thus, this enables us to take a break now and again to catch our breath a little bit. And you see that the first day, today, May 16th, we're starting with Chapter 1, and Chapter 1 is nothing more than a review. So these are things that you would have covered in General Chemistry 1 and General Chemistry 2. Here at UCCS, the course codes are Chemistry, so it'd be Chem 1401 and Chem 1411. And I'm sure that many of you have taken Chemistry 1411 recently. So again, today we're going to cover a review of general chemistry. I don't know if we'll get through the entire chapter, but if we don't, we'll save some of it for class tomorrow morning. Some other important things about the schedule, you can see that we have a census date. And the census date, sometimes you'll hear people call that the drop date. And so if you drop before May 23rd, you are able to get your money back from the university. If you drop post the census date, you will not get a refund, okay? You can still get a W on your transcript or withdrawal. However, you cannot get a refund, okay? And so you want to keep an eye on that date because sometimes students will enroll in organic chemistry and say, you know, I've bitten off more than I can chew. I'm working 2 full-time jobs. I'm trying to do this at the same time. I don't know. There's Avogadro's number of reasons why somebody might want to drop before the census date. And so you want to keep an eye on that date. So again, that is May 23rd. So that's only a week from today. And you can see that we don't cover the chapters in the book in the order in which they are presented in the book. We don't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can see that we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we skip ahead all the way to chapter 14. You can also see that we squeeze chapter 15. You see that chapter 15 is a big chapter, and we squeeze that in here as well. And there are reasons for that I'll explain later on in the course. However, the first 4 chapters are covered in the order in which they are presented in the textbook. And so no need to worry about chapter 14 today. That's for a couple of weeks from now. And you can see that we cover a variety of topics in the course. The first half is kind of an introduction to organic chemistry. I'd say the last half, once you get to around chapter 7, this is where we get into the reactions of organic chemistry. And chapters 14 and 15 both cover something called spectroscopy. So you can see that we have infrared spectroscopy and nuclear magnetic resonance spectroscopy. And also in chapter 14, it covers a subject called spectrometry. So there's a difference between spectrometry and spectroscopy. And of course, we'll get into that once we get there. So all kinds of fun stuff to look forward to in this class. Well, now that we've covered the schedule, are there any questions about the schedule? And of course, if you have a question, you can unmute your mic or you can type it in the chat. Okay, keep in mind that this schedule is posted to Canvas. You can download it. I recommend that you print it and put it in a safe place so that you're always aware of what we're going to be covering and on what day in class. It also enables you to determine the due dates for the homework, which I'm still working on setting up. So you can see that homework number 1, I have it due on Thursday, so I'm going to set that up right after class. And we also have our first quiz coming up on Thursday, and I'll give you more detail on that on Tuesday. And I'll also post an announcement about that on Wednesday. So your first homework and quiz are coming up, and you can see that all the dates for those are in there as well. Well, let's take a quick look at the syllabus, and I hope you all took the time to read the syllabus. Go in here. Let's see here. So syllabus, here we go. All right. So normally organic chemistry is taught face-to-face. In fact, every spring and fall semester at UCCS, it is taught the traditional way in a classroom. However, we found that teaching it remotely over the summer works very well for a myriad of reasons, namely that students might want to travel throughout the summer holiday. They might be visiting loved ones. And so to get everybody on campus for a lecture sometimes can pose difficulties. And that is why we offer this class as a hybrid course. However, we're going to be doing all of the lectures completely online. And so if you, again, if you need to travel or anything, you can always log in and attend our lectures. I also record, or try to record, I should say, all of the lectures and post them to my YouTube channel. And so after class today, you'll see that I'll post a link to my YouTube channel. I will create a playlist for Chemistry 3101 Summer 2022, and I'll start posting our lecture videos in there. And thus, if you missed anything, you could always go back and take a quick peek at that. All right. I have the dates on here, so let's move on. And after my introduction, I go over some things that you are going to need to complete this course. First thing is a reliable internet connection for participating in lectures. And of course, if you want to be able to ask a question in class, you have to be online with us. You'll need to have a computer with a webcam and microphone, of course. And you need one of those to enable you to take quizzes using Respondus Lockdown Browser and Respondus Monitor, which I'm sure most of the students are familiar with. It's a platform that we use oftentimes in Chemistry 1401 and 1411 at UCCS, and I will give you more information about that before the first quiz, so we don't need to know everything about Respondus this morning. Another thing is a printer, and the reason why you need to have a printer or some means of writing, you could also use an iPad, I suppose, but you need to have some kind of way to be able to write down some things in your own handwriting. And if you're wondering, well, why would I need to do that? The reason is because organic chemistry relies
You muted, sir.
I think I'm on accident. Oh, man. I think I might have accidentally done that by accident. My computer's bugging out.
Okay, so I guess I'm back on. I'm not sure how I was muted since I didn't have my microphone open. But can my students hear me now? Okay, good. All right, well, let's keep going. So I said that you need to have a printer so that you're able to do some handwriting, because that is required for some assignments, especially when we're writing out what are called curved arrows. All right. Well, I cover the rationale for that there. Okay, my contact information, you can scratch out the phone number because the university removed my phone recently. It wasn't anything personal. It was just that they removed all phones in the chemistry department a few weeks ago. And so you cannot contact me by phone. However, you can always reach me by email. I do my best to respond to emails within 24 hours. I don't sit around waiting for my email to ring with bated breath, at all hours of the day. But again, I do my best to respond within a day. All right. Other things that you want to know about organic chemistry is how much time will it take me to study organic chemistry? Well, it says here that you need to put in about 12 to 15 hours a week outside of class. That's a lot of time. It takes a lot of time to master the content in organic chemistry, to develop a solid understanding of the concepts in organic chemistry. Why is that so important? Because the quizzes are cumulative in this course. What you learn in chapter 1 is required for chapter 2. What you learn in chapter 2 is required for chapter 3. What you learn in 3 is required for 4, and so on and so forth. We keep building on concept after concept after concept. And so we can't just learn the material of 1 week and then just throw it away and say, oh, I won't be needing that. We need to have all of the material at our fingertips, so to speak, at all times. As far as office hours go, I don't have any carved out office hours since we're going to be working this class remotely. However, if you want to meet with me over Microsoft Teams, face-to-face, so to speak, or camera to camera, just let me know and we can organize some time where we can meet and chat over Microsoft Teams. All right. Please use your campus email when you're contacting me. Do not use a Gmail account. I won't respond to it. Everybody here is part of the university, so we all have university emails account. Let's see here. Course outcomes. I'll let you go over these in your own time, all the different things that we expect you to learn throughout the course. But the bottom line is that my goal as your instructor is to deliver all of the material that is required for a full understanding of Organic Chemistry 1, so that if you were to transfer to any university in this country and attempt to take Organic Chemistry 2, you would not be able to say Mr. Dion didn't cover that. You would be able to say Mr. Dion covered everything that I need to know in Organic Chemistry 1 in order for me to take Organic Chemistry 2, whether it's at UCCS or, again, anywhere in the world. Our textbook is the most popular organic chemistry textbook in America. It's the 4th edition of Organic Chemistry, written by David Klein, and we participate in a program called Inclusive Access. And so if you're enrolled in the course, what that means is that you already have access to the textbook. You do not, however, have access to the solutions manual. You have to pay an additional $15 for the solutions manual. So, I think that's the price. So $15 for solutions manual. And the solutions manual is not suggested. I would say it's borderline imperative that you have it in order to pass this class. It is one of the best written solutions manuals I've ever seen in my life. It is very well put together. And so I highly recommend, to the point where I would say it's imperative that you purchase the solutions manual. You don't necessarily need to have a set of molecular models for this class. However, it's an option, and there are lots of different molecular model kits out there on the market. You could just go on Amazon and look up Organic Chemistry Model Kit. Any model kit would do for this class. As far as an ACS Organic Chemistry Study Guide goes, I normally ask my students to get one of those for the spring and fall semester. However, in the summer, I tell my students, don't worry about having an ACS study guide. It's not that big a deal, and so don't worry about having that. I post everything in this class to Canvas. It's the learning management system that we use. It's where I'm going to post all my announcements. It's where the slides are found. It's where the suggested practice problems are found. It's where the link to the textbook is found. And so some of your homework is going to be on there. And again, I'll post your first assignment after class today. It's where the quiz is. Some of them are going to be taken, and I'll give you more information about that as the course progresses. And so everything is found on Canvas. Next is the quizzes. There are 13 quizzes over the course of the summer semester. I'll drop your lowest exam score. And so that makes up the majority of your grade. It makes up 70% of your grade. The final exam is worth 20%, and your homework is worth 10%. And then you see the grade scale is laid out here. So very clearly laid out the grade scale. So the final exam, normally I use the ACS first term organic chemistry exam. However, in the summer, I usually write my own exam. So it will be an exam written by Mr. Dion. And of course, you have to complete the final in order to pass the class. I will never drop the final. The final cannot be dropped. There's no extra credit in the class. It's just not a thing we do in this class. Homework assignments. Again, I'll post the first one after class today, and they're due by 1 minute before midnight on the date shown in the schedule. I leave the homework assignments open for the duration of the course, and so you can always complete a homework assignment late. However, if you do, it receives a grade reduction of 50%. So you would lose half credit, but again, you can still complete that assignment. As far as quizzes go, so this is a really big deal in the spring and fall semester. In the summer, it's a little different, but not that much, okay? So there's no makeup quizzes. If you're unable to complete a quiz for whatever reason, you have to have a documented excuse. It has to be some kind of function for the university or jury duty or something like that. You can miss one quiz without a prior notice and receive a score of 0. So that means one quiz. That does not mean one quiz because you were sick, one quiz because you got in an accident, one quiz because your cat was in the hospital, one quiz because your uncle was in the hospital. You get one quiz. It's not, you can't dodge bullet after bullet after bullet. And I'm not saying that anybody's trying to do that, but I will drop one score. So if you miss a quiz, let's say you say, I broke my ankle, I'm going to miss the quiz this week, I didn't have time to study. Okay, fine. But that would count as your dropped quiz. Okay. Let's see here. You can read the part about returning quizzes and regrading. Not that big a deal in the summer semester. The online classroom courtesy, try your best not to disrupt anybody. It's usually not that big a deal. Let's see here. Census date, I have that posted. I already talked about that. The final day to withdraw from the course is the 6th week of the semester. During the 6th week, you can withdraw and stay in the lab with Mr. Geiger if you are maintaining a C or better in the lab. But you also have to be attending the lecture course, and completing assignments. After the withdrawal date, I will not sign a form for withdrawal. Okay, the withdrawal date is the Friday of the 6th week of the semester. Past that, I will not sign anything. Okay, if you send me a form, say, sign this, I want to get a W, class is over in 3 days, I'd like to have a W, I will not sign it. Okay, so you can go to the dean, and if the dean should decide to sign it, fine, but I won't do it. So again, the withdrawal date is very clearly laid out. Course evaluation, Science Center. Well, that would only be for students who are in Colorado Springs. You could always stop into the UCCS Science Center, and you can talk with them. Then I have a part in here about disability services, testing center, and military students. And if that applies to you, I'll let you read that in your own time. Are there any questions about the syllabus? Anything? Sorry, I'm kind of trying to type on an angle here, so that's why I'm misspelling some of the things in the chat. Okay, all right, well, it looks like we're all good on that. Let's see here. What's next? Next, we're going to take a quick look at Canvas. So let's go into Canvas quickly, which is over here. So I'm in student view of Canvas right now. This is what you see when you log in. When I'm in it, it looks a little bit different, and I have to go into instructor view to show you the book because I can't open the book as a student. I have to open it as an instructor. But you see I have a getting started module, and I hope you all took the time to read through that. It's got the syllabus and schedule. It talks about the online homework. Wiley Plus support is in there if you're experiencing any issues. The respondus instructions are found in there. But the main thing that you're going to want today is the chapter 1 module where you can see the cursor is on that right now. Or no, maybe you can't see the cursor. But anyhow, the chapter 1 module, which has our lecture slides, which are there posted in PowerPoint format. So you can download those and use them any way you want. You can print them as slides. You can print them as PDF or save them as PDFs, write on them on a tablet. And then if you go into chapter 1 suggested practice problems, so I'll click on that. It opens up a list of problems that I recommend and highly recommend that you cover in chapter 1 in the 4th edition of Klein. And so there are many problems in the textbook, and thus I've gone through them all, and I've handpicked the ones that I deem the most critical for you to do. Now, in the book, I think the questions are listed like 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, all the way up to 1.73 or whatever that you see in this list here. So I didn't write 1 point in front of every single question. I just wrote 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, etc. But you can see that there's some questions that are found in the chapter where you would read the textbook, and then some of them are found at the end of the chapter. So let's take a look at what that would look like in our textbook. So I'm going to leave student view for a second so that I'm able to open up our textbook. You see on the left-hand side where it says home, then announcements, then Wiley course resources. If I click on the Wiley course resources, and again, I'm an instructor, so it might look slightly different than yours. You won't see anything that says instructor resources. But where it says Wiley Plus e-textbook, I'm going to click on launch. So I'll launch that, and that will open up the textbook, the greatest organic chemistry textbook on the planet Earth. Maybe not. I don't know. But it's a very good textbook. So here's chapter 1, and this is where we're going to be starting on today, sections 1.1 to 1.14. And so we have the whole thing here, Introduction to Organic Chemistry, Structural Theory of Matter. And so I highly recommend that you read this textbook. And you can see the first question here, question 1.1, draw all the constitutional isomers with these molecular formulas. Question 1.2, then you go down here a little bit further, you have a skill builder. That's what it's called, a skill builder. Then you have question 1.3, 1.4, 1.5, 1.6. So I would have just called those 3, 4, 5, 6 in the list of problems. And then if you scroll all the way down to the end of the chapter, so it'll take me a second or two here. On down here to the bottom, somewhere past the part about solubility. There we go, so solubility. And if you come to the end, you'll see that there's a review of concepts and vocabulary at the end of the chapter. And then if you keep going past that, keep going, it's all kinds of practice. Then you have practice problems that are at the end of the chapter. So you see that it starts on question 32. So if we go back here into the suggested practice problems, if I did it correctly, it should start at question, you see at end of the chapter, it says question 32. So I recommend you do 32, 33, 34, 35. And so you'll want to work all of those problems, every single one of these problems. You can see that some of them even have the answers in here. But again, you need to purchase the solutions manual in order to get the full solutions. And I mean, it has the solutions to everything, not just the answers, the solutions. It shows you a guided solution of every problem. So organic chemistry is a subject that can only be mastered through extensive practice. And I know that a lot of you have recently taken General Chemistry 2, and in order for you to master that course, hopefully you would have figured out that the best way to do that is to study, to work as many practice problems as possible. I find that chemistry, or General Chemistry 2, is a course that benefits from a huge number of practice problems. All right, so that covers the schedule, the syllabus. We've looked around Canvas a little bit, and so that kind of covers the introduction to the course. So I'm just going to stop recording here for a second.